Okay, we are going to start. Everybody can hear me? Raise your hand if you hear me, F2. Yeah, sure, good, thank you very much. Okay, so I'm very proud to be here today. I'm with Brian here. Brian, say hello. Brian SAVERY. It's from
Hey,
US.
Brian.
You can present you, maybe, Brian? Brian? I don't know if you hear me. So, okay, my name is Arnaud TOURÉ. I'm a field application engineer working for professional graphics in AMD. So Brian is from the software development team directly from the US. So it's very early in the morning for him. So thank you very much to be there early in the morning. It's 6 o'clock, I think, in the morning. So I will do the first part. I will do a presentation regarding wireless VR from AMD. And then Brian will do a presentation about Pro Render. And then we will have some Q&A. If you have any question, feel free to stop us and ask your question. So we have the visualization in the professional market are asking more and more power for sharpness, for having some real view of the CAD model. So we can see that on manufacturing, media entertainment, architecture, where we want to visualize with the maximum of detail what we are creating. And for this, we are using different devices and different VR platform. So you can see we have different brand of VR devices like HTC, like Oculus, Varjo, the device from HP also. There is a huge different devices in the world. And we are using that and every part on every vertical or on the market. It can be education, it can be design, it can be medicine, entertainment, gaming, everywhere. So the demand is very huge. And for AMD, we take this as a real business. It's not only gaming, it's really a professional business. So again, we see that in different digital mockup configuration. So there is a lot of devices, there is a lot of solution, but there is a point where we need to have the power to make this 3D mockup. And so in AMD we have different hardware, different graphic card, and we are different tag. We have some graphic card with Radeon VR Ready. With this tag, that means that the graphic card have a score at least of 7 at SteamVR benchmark. That means that this graphic card is capable to have the good frame rate to do VR without any lag, without any problem. So in all the different graphic card we have the high-end, the middle range, and high-end card that is tag VR. So the first one you can see is the WX 7100, and it grew up to the WX 9100. All these cards can have a nice experience of VR. So here it's in detail the different card with all the application where these cards are certified. Meaning by certified that we have the tag for VR for the score in Steam, but also these cards are supported by all the ISV. So Dassault System, Autodesk, PTC. we have the support from them with this graphic card. So it's the hardware. Now it's more about the software. So all our drivers are enterprise ready. We have all the professional certification. So all the different, you can see the different brand and the different software in the ecosystem. What is interesting for us is we introduce a new feature on our driver. So you have on the right side the HTC Focus Plus. It's a nice nice device without any wire, and it's autonomous, so you don't need a PC. Drawback of this device is that the power is very limited to the device itself. So what we did, we use the power of the workstation and we stream the output directly on the device, so without any wire. How we do that? So you have your workstation or your laptop VR ready. He has to be connected to a Wi-Fi network, Wi-Fi router with the 5G capability. So you know, on Wi-Fi you have two frequency band. You have 2.4 and 5. So 5 is the latest one. So to use Radeon Relive, you need to have Wi-Fi router compatible with 5 gigahertz, and then all the power of your workstation will be streamed directly to the HTC Focus Plus. So in the HTC Focus Plus, you have only a receiver, and you don't use the limited power of the HTC Focus Plus. All the computation is done on the workstation. The VR application has to be SteamVR compliant. We are using SteamVR, and it's the same on the Focus Plus. You will download a little software called AMD Relive. It's a receiver that will receive the stream of the workstation. You can see some image here. You can see some image. Here you can see that you have only the workstation with at the top of the workstation the router, and you have your devices. And you can see it's working. The latency is very low, and you don't have all the wire, all the satellite to catch where you are, and it's working very nice. There is no lag, meaning that you can have some kind of video game where the latency is very touchy, and you can play. It's a very cool experience. So again, you go from an experience with a wire, with satellite, where in fact you are very limited, where you can move in your room, to an experience where you have no more limit. The only limit is the limit of the Wi-Fi connection. So here it's an example during a show. I think it was at IBC in Amsterdam. So the booth is very limited. You only need the workstation, the router at the top, and then you can do VR. No need satellite, no need defined space. It's very cool, very easy to demonstrate everywhere. You don't need, in fact, you don't need a special room for VR. How it works. Here you can see really how it works. So here, sorry, again. So here I am in the driver, AMD Radeon. So I go in real life settings, and then in real life settings, I check SteamVR integration to enable the streaming of the VR. I can choose also the bitrate. So depending on the quality of my network, I can modify the bitrate to avoid lagging. Of course, higher bitrate, the better the experience will be. So the typical question people have, it's what professional application can be used with Radeon Relive for workstation wireless VR. In fact, any application that is compatible with SteamVR. So you can use Unreal Studio, Unity, Autodesk, Revit, Autodesk VRED, all applications that is compatible with SteamVR. Is the resolution and frame rate on the workstation monitor what I see in the headset? So the Windows 10 desktop is not duplicate in the headset. So you will see only the VR experience. So the experience it's really great. And what you see on the screen doesn't reflect what you see on the devices. On the device, it's really very fluid, no lag. It's very cool. It's like the HTC Vive Pro, like if you have a wire, but you don't have wire. What is the physical connection range of the Radeon Relive? So as I said, the limitation, it's the limitation of your Wi-Fi router. Assuming an application allows for multiple user collaboration, how many users can use Relive VR in the same space? So it depends of your router. So single channel router can support up to 3 headsets. So 8 pair of headsets can be supported in a multi-channel router or by several routers. So the router you saw previously on the picture, you can imagine you can have up to 8 poles connected to this router. Will a VR application that work with HTC Vive also work wirelessly with HTC Vive Focus Plus? Yes, and again, you don't need any tracking device or tripod. That's really cool. Does Radeon Relive VR stream audio to the headset? Yes, you have the full experience. You have the video and also the audio. So no worry about that. And can the wireless headset be connected directly to my laptop wireless network card instead of using a router? I would say no by default because there's no PC with this norm of 5G. But if tomorrow there is a laptop or workstation with directly this Wi-Fi norm embedded in it, so yes, you can do it. And so some takeaways on this. So ProVR, again, it's much more than gaming. As you see, you can have some software like CAD software. You can do digital mockup. You can see some digital mockup with different people in the enterprise. So it's really cool. We think that the potential of professional VR is growing a lot because a lot of people asking to be embedded in the professional world to see a movie in real time, to doing the shooting, to see a CAD model in real time, to collaborate with others. So it will take a lot more attraction in the future. And again, yesterday I do a presentation regarding Radeon Pro card and Threadripper CPU. You can imagine that you have a workstation with, for example, 4 professional cards, and you are using a Linux KVM to do virtual machine. So on your physical workstation, you have 4 virtual machine. Each virtual machine is dedicated to one graphic card with pass-through. So you can imagine that you can connect 4 VR headset on the same workstation to do some VR experience and to collaborate each other. So it's really a good software, a good application. you have all the advantage of the wireless without the drawback of the power of the HTC Focus Plus. Thank you very much. Do you have any question on this topic? New question. I see. I have to go here to see the question. Ah, okay. So no question before we go to the next topic. Who is using VR headset?
Me.
Oui.
Raphaël Tropet. Yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
Me.
Yes.
I've got an Oculus Rift CV1 first version.
Yes, we can see that with your arm moving.
Okay, nice. Am I alone with an headset? Yeah.
Like.
Okay, no problem.
And you have wire or it's a wireless headset?
No, it's not wire. It's the old one, old version. But I use it at this time.
Okay, so again with the HTC Focus Plus, you will be able to directly stream the content to the headset without any wire. So it's very easy to move with your headset to different places, to a customer, to an event, without bringing and set up all the satellite and stuff like this.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's a very cool feature. So I will leave now the end to Brian to present you Pro Render. Brian.
Where is Brian?
Where is Brian? I connect your presentation, Brian.
Yep, hold on. I'm just starting up the I'm giving you a new link to connect the presentation here.
Sure.
Hold on. No.
Okay.
Where my I'm trying to find my thing here.
Just
Okay,
let
let me
us
know.
know if you need help or.
We can you guys see this?
Yes.
No, it's not the good one, Brian.
Internal server error.
Brian, the link you sent me is weird. It's a small one. Can you check the link you sent me?
Hold on a second.
Yes, send it to me. I will update it.
What you can do is just refresh the screen on the right hand above the screen in the middle once you upload something.
We just stream. We are doing a streaming.
Right.
Yeah, but then as well you should reload the screen in the middle.
Yep.
Arnaud, did you get the new link that I sent you for it?
No, the link is. Can you send it back? Send it again. It's strange.
I just sent it to you on Skype.
Where?
I said I just sent it to you on Skype. Take a second.
I have this one, but
yeah.
Yes, but it's the one I have put.
All right.
You check the link.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. Working
No problem. I will take advantage of the moment to ask everyone during the sessions to stay behind the camera, which is the woman in black, named Camera 5, so that except for the people who are presenting, of course, but all the others, just if you want to stay behind, so that if you want to see the screen better in front, you can click on the. You can click on the Zoom
Je lui
button,
demande le
and
lien,
then
il
you
m'envoie un
have
lien,
the
il va
view of
m'envoyer
the
le lien,
screen
c'est bon.
itself, but
C'est
Ça
bon
va
là,
arriver.
normalement tu
Ouais,
l'as
c'est
reçu?
bon.
Ok,
C'est bon.
super.
behind.
Nickel.
And where is the camera number 5 here? 5?
Camera 5 is in the middle. It's the woman in black.
Okay, I can't see it. Perhaps it's me.
She's in the
Okay, so
middle.
everyone
eyes.
can see the presentation
No
now?
worries, but everyone is behind her, so that's fine.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Can you see the
All right.
presentation?
Yes, we see the presentation.
Sorry for the technical difficulties there.
Perfect.
So,
We'll
all
leave
right,
you the stage.
great. My name is Brian SAVERY. I'm going to talk about Radeon Pro Render, which is a software product from a hardware company, AMD. Arnaud was talking about VR, wireless VR viewing. This is more geared towards content creation. So I don't know how many users there are in the group here who make 3D images. Radeon Pro Render is a piece of rendering software for helping create incredible 3D images. So all the images you see in the background here in this presentation have been created with Radeon Pro Render. So what Radeon Pro Render is a universal rendering system. So anything like this application, your games, and people who are creating animation for movies or product design, that has to be rendered to a screen. And basically, we're taking data that's in the computer and creating a realistic image with it. And one technique that we use in Radeon Pro Render is called ray tracing. You might have heard a lot about it lately if you follow games, or if you're familiar with creating content for product visualization or animation. But basically, ray tracing is tracing light rays through the scene, and using that technique of a light ray bouncing off the headlights here on the car and then finding the light over here, using that technique to create a very realistic image. So Radeon Pro Render uses that extensively in it, that algorithm. And the nice part is that we created this rendering system that will run on CPUs, on GPUs, on Windows, Mac OS, Linux, because AMD is our hardware is in all these different places. We have to support all these different operating systems and hardware. And also, we've tried to do this in an open way so that users who have our competitors' graphics cards can also use the same rendering system. So it's a very open system, and we've tried to make this very easy and available to use for different users. And in fact, one thing that we've tried to do is, if you look at the rendering that's in this application right now, it's pretty simple. There's not a lot of bounces of specular. When I say specular, I mean highlights here on the object. There's not a lot of stuff like that, or like soft shadows. It's pretty simple rendering in this virtual world here. But part of the reason there is because it has to be real time, and they have to the makers of this piece of software had to make it so that it could handle a wide range of hardware. So a user might not have a high power graphics cards in their machine, so the rendering system has to be fast enough um, to handle that. When you look at something like a movie rendering, which might be something like the lower right corner here with this Ferrari, we tend to use much higher quality lighting algorithms. So you can see like there's soft shadows underneath the dashboard of the car. There's really nice glass reflections. You can see the refraction through the glass into the engine bay, and the highlights on the top of the car are really nice. So there's a whole spectrum of different rendering applications, and you can think of the spectrum being from real time with lesser quality to longer rendering times to better quality. And one nice thing that we've done with ProRender is we've made it so that we can handle all these different spectrums of rendering all with one piece of software. So all of these 4 images are created with ProRender, and they are increasing in complexity, but also increasing in render time. So as a user who's going and creating content to render, maybe you want something that's going to be really fast, so you can iterate on your design very quickly. So you would use the rasterized mode here and get not such nice shadows, but it'll be much faster. And then maybe when you're ready to do a final render, you turn on the path tracer and get the higher quality render. And this is all using the same software. You just flip a switch and you can change how the quality versus time rendering scale goes. So how can you get this piece of software? We have plugins for various different applications that you might have heard of. 3D Studio Max, Maya, Blender. Blender is a piece of free software that I'll demo later, and I'll show you how Radeon Pro Render works in there. And also for people doing CAD work, there is a SolidWorks ships a piece of software called Visualize, and we're built into there to create images like this bike here, the snow bike that was created in SolidWorks Visualize. So we've basically adapted this as a plugin to all these different pieces of software, and there's more coming here. The other nice part is that most of those applications can export the render scene to a file that can be rendered on the cloud, and we've partnered with Morganrot for doing cloud rendering. So let's say you have a long animation that you want to render. You could export a file, send that to the cloud, and let their cluster of GPUs render this much faster than you could on your home machine. And that's pretty nice, and it's a really great service that they provide there. So for the developers out there, Radeon Pro Render is actually a suite of different applications. There's Pro Render, which is the renderer itself. We actually include Radeon Rays, which is a ray tracing library, and we have a couple different versions of that. And there's also a image filter library, which includes stuff for denoising images. So if I can, let me back here. Oops, sorry, too far. So a lot of times in rendering, we will render images with less samples, so it takes less time to render, and then we'll run a smart filter that uses machine learning to basically clean up the noise in the image. So some of these images, particularly the one in the upper right here, were rendered with less samples and then run through the denoise filter. And all that lets you do is it lets you render faster and then get a cleaner image. So we offer that denoising library as well as part of our Pro Render developer suite. And this is all open for developers. It is all being updated in the next couple of weeks, and will be it's free for developers now through the AMD site, but it will be put on GitHub coming soon in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for announcements for that if you're a developer. Again, not really sure how many content creators we have in the crowd, but we will have a release coming in the next couple of weeks for updating all of our plugins. We're adding support for Maya 2020 and the new version of Blender, which is 2.83. And one thing that will include is better volume rendering using a file format called OpenVDB. So if you have something like, if you want to do like smoke or fire, it's really useful. Really useful to use this OpenVDB volume rendering for doing stuff like smoke and fog and fire. Oh, I should mention before that we actually we can render on multiple GPUs at once. So let's say you have 4 GPUs in your machine. If you're crazy person who builds up a machine like that, you can render on all 4 of your GPUs and get a 4 times speed up. And we've actually been working recently to improve the speed up that you get when you have multiple GPUs between them, as well as if you're using the CPU and the GPU for rendering both at once. We've been working hard on improving that performance. And like I said, we have a new version coming in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for updates around that. So that's basically what my presentation is. Is there any questions before I jump into the demo part of the presentation? Questions? Okay. Well, then I'll just go into a demo here. Okay, so this is a program called Blender. It is for creating 3D models, animating them, and rendering them, as well as you can use it for a lot of different things. Like you could export these 3D models to 3D printing. I think they have some VR support with Blender, and so, like I said before, we had adapted our Radeon Pro Render software to work inside of Blender. So I've selected, to use Radeon Pro Render here, and let me just start the render going, and I can talk about what's going on here. So sorry for it not being quite real time with it going through the web, but you can get the idea of, so I started a viewport rendering and I get a much higher quality render here. And so right now I'm doing this on a Mac OS a laptop actually, and you can see I can select using my CPU here. I can use a GPU, which is a built-in 5500 Pro GPU, which is one of our Navi cards. And actually, so I have plugged in on my desk here an external GPU card, which is this 5700 XT. So I could actually do multiple GPUs as well here. So what this program allows me to do is I can do rendering in real time here. And again, sorry, it's lagging a little bit in the screen, I can see. But on my side, this is basically real time as I'm moving the camera around here. And then the viewport here obviously updates very quickly. And then I can do things like move this car around a little bit. And let me pause it so the screen here can catch up. Again, you know, the streaming quality here isn't as fast as I would like it to be, but you know, it works. So I can do things like move the car around in real time and see how that's reflected in the rendering. Obviously now I've brought my car off the wheels. Or I could go and change the color of my car. Wow, this takes a long time to stream through. Okay, so there we go. I've changed the color of my car. I can do things like I can change the lights. So let's say I want to make the light a lot softer, and we get a darker scene. Or let's actually turn this light completely off and then see what happens there. So that's basically what you can do in the real-time render here. If I switch back to wireframe, and let's go and set this to use my external. Actually, let's leave this here. I could use both too, but I can also render out an image to the desktop, to the image editor. Okay, so here is the image that we've rendered out to the desktop, and then I can save this as an image file to save to disk. So again, you know, this basically is allowing us to do, you know, really high quality rendering in an application like this. For the VR users, we've actually done a demo at last SIGGRAPH, which is a big computer graphics conference. Did a demo of doing the ray tracing using the full spectrum rendering modes. We've done that through a VR headset. So it was basically like a chess game with chess pieces which were glass and had like reflection and refraction through them. We were running that through a headset in real time. And this is all using current generation hardware and just using the computation on the graphics hardware or on your CPU to do this. So it basically allows us to do some really cool stuff on the GPU and rendering high quality images, you know, through applications like Blender and stuff like that. So that's basically my presentation. I guess I can throw it to questions now.
Any questions on Pro Render or even on wireless VR? I saw a question on the chat from Wells Nikolov about virtualization. Is that regarding wireless VR? Want more information about how to virtualize and to have different headset on the same computer? That's it? No. Any question? You can activate your mic or you can tap on the chat bar.
Raise
Someone
your
is
hand.
tapping.
If you need question, raise your hand and push the button for mic.
Don't be afraid. They won't bite you.
Okay, yes, it's about wireless VR. Okay, I saw your. So regarding the virtualization, in fact, you are using an hypervisor like KVM on Linux, QEMU KVM, and on your virtual machine you can do pass-through. So pass-through means that your VM will have access to the full hardware, the full GPU. And then when your VM has a full access to the full GPU, you can install the AMD driver, and so you will benefit of Relive, and you will have a wireless VR. Is it clear?
Hey, sorry, my question was more about, do you have at AMD any specific virtualization technology that you use to create the virtual machines with GPU virtualization, or any KVM-based solution you would recommend?
No, we need pass-through, so you can use any Linux distribution you want. With KVM, it's easy to do pass-through. Not sharing GPU, not like grid or stuff like this. It's only pass-through.
Only pass-through, okay.
Yeah.
Got it, thank you.
Welcome. Other question on Pro Render? Thank you very much to attend this session. And if you have any question, we will be on the AMD building near the reception.
Thank you, guys. A great
Thank you, guys.
presentation.
Thanks again.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks a lot.